Heidi with Kiddos Koral, and if this is your first time at my channel, welcome. So today we finally get a chance to talk about Thanksgiving, which is one of my favorite holidays of the year because I love to bake and I love to cook and I love to entertain. And I know last year I did a series on what to do to prepare and prep ahead of time, and I'm just kind of revamp a little bit what I spoke about last year. Now I still have my binder, and I took out the front cover because I knew the glare, and I'm not sure how well you guys can see it with all the lighting in here. But basically all I did to make my cover was I ordered a collage 8x10 from Walgreens, and I just put a heading on it that said Thanksgiving Planner, and I just slip it right into the front cover of my book. I'm going to show you guys once I get it in, and it just fits like that, and then I know this is my Thanksgiving planner. And so I started looking into my planner today and seeing what it had still in it, and of course it has my menu plan. You guys need to have a menu plan of what you want to fix for Thanksgiving. Now, if it is your first Thanksgiving, I'm going to tell you to either try some of the recipes ahead of time in advance so that you know that you have your cooking times down and that you know that your family will enjoy that on Thanksgiving. Also too, I find that it is safe to stay within all of the recipes that are typically traditional at Thanksgiving. So the turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, stuffing, and you don't have to make it fancy. This year I am doing something different, which I'll talk about in another video with you guys, but I do have my menu from last year, and I found that I got a little carried away last year with the desserts. I did. I made too much. I found myself in the kitchen the entire day last year, and this year I don't want that. I really want more of a casual setting. We're going to keep it very traditional, very casual this year, and that is what we're going to do. Then you also want a cooking schedule. Now I talk about this in the last video that I did last year because it is so important to know what time you guys are going to eat, know how long that it is going to take your turkey to bake. So I usually do my turkey. I usually have it all prepped and ready to put in the oven in the morning. Thanksgiving morning. That way I'm not stumbling around the kitchen trying to put together this turkey. I have it in the pan, I have it seasoned, I have it stuffed with whatever I want to stuff it with, and all I have to do is take it out of the fridge and slip it into the oven. And I usually do between 10 and 15 minutes a pound. So I want to find out if I'm eating at 2 and I have a 20-pound bird, I need to know what time to put it in. And so that is why I have a cooking schedule that I follow every year. And of course it changes because the time that we eat changes. The amount of people that I have here changes every year. So having a cooking schedule is so very important. You can even see where something changed last year, and I went in with a pen and actually changed the times on here. But you know, what time the turkey goes in the oven, the bread dough is made because I make homemade rolls every year, and so those have to rise. You know, you want to do your most time-consuming things first. So that's kind of what this video is about. Depending on how you plan your Thanksgiving day, we usually get up, we have something light for breakfast. We will watch the Macy's Day Parade. I already put the turkey in the oven, and we have a very casual, very relaxing morning with coffee. And so then after that, usually around lunchtime, it's not time to eat the big meal, but everybody is kind of hungry, and so we always have appetizers. I always think ahead what I can make for my company that is, you know, considered appetizers. And so in the next couple of videos, I am going to share with you guys recipes of things that I pre-make ahead of time for appetizers for my company, because I can tell you that food does not have to be complicated or time consuming on Thanksgiving Day in order to have something delicious prepared for the people that are attending your Thanksgiving. So today I am going to be making my meatballs, and basically all I'm going to do is make up my meatball mixture. I'm going to form into meatballs. I'm going to bake them at 350 degrees for about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to let them cool. I'm going to pop those into a freezer bag, and those are going to be ready for Thanksgiving Day. And then Thanksgiving Day I will take all of my frozen meatballs, you don't even have to thaw them, and I am going to dump them into my crock pot with a sauce that is equal parts chili sauce and grape jelly. And I heat that up on the stove and I pour that over top of my meatballs, and then I let that cook, and I come back about an hour and I give it a good stir just to make sure that sauce is getting good and surrounding all those meatballs in there. And I'll let it cook for about 3 hours to 4 hours. I find that kind of like if you go more like the 3-hour mark, those flavors really incorporate with one another with the meatballs, and they're even better. They're even better the next day. So if we don't eat them all, that's what we'll be eating the day after Thanksgiving. It's the meatballs. So I'm going to show you guys how I put together my meatballs. You guys are going to see me put them together from start to finish, and I'm going to pop them in the freezer, and we're going to have a very yummy appetizer for Thanksgiving Day. I have my meat in my mixing bowl here. I have 3 pounds of ground turkey. Now with making meatballs, you want to use a lean meat. I have even used venison, which is really good, because what happens is when you pop the meatballs into your oven, if it's a really fatty meat, it will disperse a lot of grease, and I find that it splatters all over your oven and it makes a big mess, and I like to keep things as clean as possible when I'm cleaning. So I have 3 pounds of ground turkey, and to that I'm going to add 2 eggs that I'm whisking. You just want to break those yolks up. I'm going to add that in. I'm going to add in a splash of milk, which is probably about a little under 1/4 cup of milk. Some salt, some pepper, and then I'm going to add in about 1/2 teaspoon of parsley. And you can really eyeball this to however you like your meatballs to taste, but I have been making these a while, so it's kind of like, I usually add about 1 tablespoon of minced onion. You can cut up your own onion if you like to, but I find that using the minced onion is just as easy. I'm going to use a little bit of Italian seasoning. A little bit of thyme. A little bit of oregano leaves. Some garlic powder. And a little bit of Italian seasoning. Then I'm going to add in some Italian, well, these are actually plain. You can use the Italian seasoned breadcrumbs or the plain, but I must have grabbed the plain, but I meant to grab the Italian seasoning. But that's okay. So I add about 1 cup or half of one of these containers of breadcrumbs. Now the idea with the breadcrumbs is you want to make sure that when you combine all this meat mixture together, that it'll actually form into a ball. And the breadcrumbs and the eggs and all of that kind of act like the glue, so you want to make sure that you add enough breadcrumbs. I kind of keep it open to the side, so when I start kneading this together with my hands, I'll know if I need to add more to it. Now I'm going to put gloves on today to mix this because I don't want to get this meat up underneath my nails today. But you don't have to wear gloves, and I usually don't, but today I'm going to just put the gloves on. And I'm just going to take my hands and incorporate all of this together. You want to make sure that you get that egg all infused in there, all the breadcrumbs. And I try to keep one hand in the wet and one hand over here where it's not getting all yucky, in case I need to add something more to it. Basically, you're going to be kneading this almost as if you're going to put together a meatloaf. It doesn't look very appetizing at this point, but I promise you that it will be delicious when it's made up. And usually when it's not the holidays, I will make these meatballs up. Oops. I will make these meatballs up, and I will freeze into 3 individual bags, giving each one of my family members about 5 to 6 meatballs a piece. And I add it to spaghetti. I make meatball subs with these. So I mean, you can really use meatballs in just about everything. I make sweet and sour meatballs on the stove with onions and peppers, and then I serve it over rice. It's delicious. That looks pretty good to me. I might add just a little bit more breadcrumb to it. And my meat is cold and my hand is freezing. There we go. And so you just want to make sure that it'll all come together and make a meatball. So I'm going to clean this up, and then I'm going to show you guys how I make these up into meatballs. I've covered my baking sheet with a piece of foil. And because my meat does not have any fat in it, I want to go ahead and spray my foil with some non-stick cooking spray, and this will keep the meatballs from sticking. And then I have a handy dandy little scooper. This is the smallest one that I have found that works really, really well. And you're going to have to get your hands in this a little bit because you're going to have to roll these into, make sure that they're all together. So what I do is I just scoop out the meat mixture to fill the scoop, put it in my hand, and roll it into a ball and place it on the cookie sheet. These will take about 15 minutes to bake in a 350-degree oven. And it takes you a little bit of time to roll them all into a ball, but I love doing it this way because it makes everything all the same size and it looks very uniform when you serve them. meatballs rolled, and I have some meat mixture left, so it's gonna fill up this pan more than once. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this pan into the oven at 350 degrees for 15 minutes, and I'll show you guys what they look like when they come out. Meatballs just came out of the oven. They're nice and done. They're hot, obviously. And I have my Ziploc bags ready here. And basically what I do is I place these meatballs to where I can lay my Ziploc bag flat inside of my freezer. They can touch each other. It doesn't hurt anything. But I just like to place them in here where they're flat. I find that they freeze better that way. And I probably should be using tongs because these are hot. And I'm just going to continue to fill up my Ziploc bag and place them in the freezer. And then they are ready for whenever I need them. Now, I do not thaw my meatballs out before adding them to the crock pot. I just add them to the crock pot frozen. If you don't want to take the time to make the meatballs, you can buy pre-made meatballs in your freezer section and add those to your crock pot with the sauce recipe. That's so simple for appetizers, but I really like my homemade meatballs the best. I hope y'all enjoyed seeing this video today. Let me know what you prep ahead of time for Thanksgiving. I hope y'all have a great day. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe and hit that like button. And I will be talking to you all again soon. I'm gonna get my meatballs in the freezer and my prep is done here. Have a great day, guys. Bye.